Hey everybody, one of the biggest challenges for families is how dramatically the appetite can change for someone who's living with dementia. Some people stop eating overnight, and others, they want to eat nonstop. The good news is that these changes are common, they're explainable, and there are ways to work around this so that every meal is not a battle. My name is Matthew Estrad. I'm a gerontologist in St. Tammany Parish, and I've been partnering with the Council on Aging in St. Tammany for over 11 years as their caregiver support group facilitator, and then also as someone who brings you these caregiver coffee conversations. So today's topic is going to be about appetite and things you can do around that, things that can be in your control. So we hope these tools are going to be helpful for you. We hope that you'll put them into practice. So have a notebook handy and jot down the ideas. And just when you hear something that sounds good or applies to you, jot it down. Maybe come back and rewatch the video and get a plan. Get a simple plan without feeling overwhelmed, and just do your best. Before we get into this topic, just a little bit about our caregiver support group that are held on Tuesdays throughout the year. And you've probably heard me give the spiel. I give it in most of the videos. And we do that so that we hope that that you join us one of these Tuesdays. So we go just about every Tuesday evening of the year, unless it falls on a holiday, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Sometimes we're in person, sometimes we are using a virtual platform, Zoom, but we don't have a hybrid. We don't have an in-person and video going at the same time. What I recommend that you do is that if you're interested, you contact Coast, or you go onto their website, coastseniors.org, and you go navigate over to the caregiver area, and then you download the 2-month flyer that we put out. It's got all the dates for the current 2 months. And then from there, you'll see exactly where we are. You'll see addresses. You'll see a way to join the private email list that is free, by the way. And that way you get an email every Tuesday morning with a reminder of where we are, in hopes that you'll join us. And on those Tuesdays, that's also when we share the Zoom link. That can be really handy, that you will need. It's not on the flyer. And then when the next time we have a new 2-month flyer, you will get that if you're on the email list. So highly encourage you to do that. We're in person in Slidell the first Tuesday of the month. The second Tuesday of the month, we're online. The third Tuesday of the month, we're in Covington. And on the fourth Tuesday of the month, and sometimes the fifth Tuesday, if there is one, sometimes we do meet via Zoom. What may vary is if we meet on a fifth Tuesday. That's what I was trying to say. If there's a fifth Tuesday, we will let you know if we end up meeting. All just depends on budget and all that. So, all right, let's get into this topic. The sources that I'm using are from the Alzheimer's Association 2025 Dementia Care Practice Recommendations. And this is honestly one of the sources I use for most of the videos. And specifically the evidence-based strategies for managing nutrition and appetite. Clinical understanding of weight loss and overeating is supported by Gillette and Guyonnet and Vellas in a 2008 article, and White and Associates, or White and colleagues, 2004, who studied nutritional risk and feeding behaviors in Alzheimer's disease. Guidance on swallowing, safety, and mealtime environment comes from the Hartford Institute on Geriatric Nursing, and also from the National Institute on Aging, the NIA, and the European Society for Clinical Nutrition and Metabolism, Guidelines on Nutrition in Dementia 2015. I don't say this enough, but this is not medical advice that I'm giving today or on any of the caregiver coffee conversations. And it's not just, I'm not saying that just to cover ourselves from liability, but honestly, you should get personalized advice from your doctor, from your nurse practitioner, your dietitian, your exercise coach. They know you better. They're there in front of you, and they see how you'll respond to this information, be able to guide you and coach you based on what you're learning here. So certainly take this knowledge, be prudent in how you use it, watch your safety, and always get personalized advice from the practitioners that I just mentioned. All right, so why does appetite change happen in dementia? Well, dementia affects, of course, parts of the brain that are responsible for hunger, for fullness, for smell, for taste, and for impulse control. And these appetite changes are not intentional, they're neurological for that reason. So weight loss is common in early and mid stages of Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. Overeating or food seeking is more common in the FTD or frontal temporal dementia or degeneration, but can also appear in Alzheimer's. Sensory changes like taste or smell may alter food preferences. So foods that your loved one has enjoyed, that are comforting their whole life, they may change with their changing tastes. So it's not stubbornness, it's the disease, as with all these, many of these changes that we talk about in all the videos. It's the disease, it's not the person. So this, just like, and so the brain is changing in this case as well. All right, so let's look at when someone living with dementia is eating too little. The causes could be just simply forgetting to eat. It could be that loss of taste or smell that we just talked about. It could be depression, so they've lost interest generally in things that they've enjoyed doing, including eating. They may have difficulty chewing or swallowing. You may not know that they might have a sore or they might have a toothache or something like that. They might not be able to, you might not be able to read their nonverbals. They might not be able to tell you that it's not comfortable. They also might have trouble swallowing, which could be difficult to detect by just watching them. It could be medications that cause a change or decrease their appetite. It could be fatigue, and it could also be a distracting environment where they're not interested, like they can't really even focus on food. Some of the warning signs to look for are clothes become too loose, leaving food untouched, pocketing food in cheeks, coughing during meals, and taking a really long time to chew. So what could help if you're seeing this? You could try 5 to 6 small meals or mini meals instead of the traditional 3 large ones. This can sometimes be less overwhelming for that person, but we also don't want it to be overwhelming for you at the same time. So the thought is that it doesn't become, 6, 3 additional meals that you need to do, but just something that's smaller. Some high calorie, high protein add-ins to consider are peanut butter, Greek yogurt, cheese, olive oil, and protein shakes. So the peanut butter is going to have, protein, but also fat, as is the cheese. The Greek yogurt is going to be, you can get, of course, get that in 0 fat, or you can get it in regular. So all these are going to be, good options for proteins. And I'd say soft also. The Greek yogurt's easy to eat. Peanut butter can be very easy. Cheese, these are soft foods generally. Then you can look at finger foods, of course, sandwiches. This could be cut fruit. This could be cheese cubes, chicken strips. And these can be easier for those who they don't want to use utensils, or utensils are difficult to use. So these are, finger food, things that they can pick up with their fingers, of course. If your loved one may be distracted, some ways to reduce that is to turn off the TV. Of course, this still has to work for them. Like if you turn off the TV and they get upset, well, that's not gonna work. But maybe try that first, and if not, adjust. Where maybe it's something on TV that is not distracting, something that does not have to be paid attention to, I guess, very closely. So you can also try a completely quiet, soothing environment. Maybe put on some music, a simple table setting. So if you tend to have a lot of things on the table, kind of simplify, just have what is absolutely needed. For any swallowing issues, ask for a speech therapy referral. We were just talking about this in our caregiver support group just 4 days ago, how that's important. If you have concerns and the doctor doesn't offer that idea and a referral for speech therapy, then just ask your doctor for that. You can try softer foods, and you can even try thickened liquids if recommended. And that's where it's important to get the speech therapy appointment and consultation, because they're going to be able to recommend what foods are going to work, and if you need to do thickened liquids, and if so, what do they recommend? Because there's this whole like continuum of thickness and thinness of different foods and liquids and everything. It actually can get quite complex. So this is one of those things you want to get some guidance on. So think of meals as opportunities, not as obligations. So this can be difficult because as one doctor, a geriatrician that I really respect, she's always said food can equal love. So meaning that if my loved one is not eating, it is somehow my fault, and I'm not being able to love them. Like if I'm not providing food that they're eating, then how else am I going to show my love? And so that might be part of your experience and maybe not, but I can see where it can be, how there can be some guilt perhaps if someone is not eating the food that you're trying to provide for them. It could be frustrating, of course, if you're doing this work and they're not enjoying it and getting nutrition, but like this is how we give love. We enjoy when we do cook for somebody. We like watching them eat, etc. So and so goes this as well as more caregivers. All right, let's look at the other side of the coin. So when someone is eating too much, so what are potential causes? So there can be impaired satiety signals. So those signals from our brain that tell us that we're full, that we can stop eating. That might be impaired in the brain. It could be anxiety or boredom. So just eating because what else am I going to do? Or this is interesting. Forgetting that they just ate about an hour ago. Food that can be a source of comfort and could be frontal temporal dementia or frontal temporal degeneration, depending how however you call it, however you prefer to call it. They're the same thing. It could be FTD behaviors where someone is just continues to eat, especially sweet food, candy, desserts, and things like that. All right, some warning signs are constant snacking, asking for food right after meals, eating very quickly, fixating on sweets, and seeing weight gain. So their clothes are getting tighter and not looser than in the previous conversation we just had. So what can help if someone is overeating because of the disease? You can structure meals and a snack schedule. Predictable times can reduce anxiety, and you can even post a schedule and see if that works. That will work. If that will be effective for some people, it will not be effective for other people, but it is something we're trying. Some healthy unlimited snacks. So these are things that you can let them just keep munching and crunching on, and it may satiate them. It's carrot sticks, apple slices, air popped popcorn, not the microwave popcorn that has a lot of chemicals and stuff in it, certainly a lot of calories, but air popped popcorn, cucumber slices. I even say pickles. My family loves pickles. You can think about pre-portioned foods, so leaving large containers out. I'm sorry, avoid leaving the big containers out and serving meals on smaller plates so the food actually looks bigger. You can increase hydration because thirst can also feel like hunger, and you can offer water before snacks. Another idea is to redirect behavior. And we've talked about some of these activities like folding towels, going for a short walk, doing something, some sensory activity or blanket, or just something that keeps somebody's hands busy, sorting, simple activities like that they might be engaged in. So often hunger can be emotional rather than physical. So overeating is usually a signal that something's wrong. It's not so much a lack of willpower, but perhaps damage to the brain, as in dementia. So when eating becomes a battle, you should avoid arguing or forcing. You should try using gentle prompts. You can offer choices like, would you like soup or a sandwich? So A or B, one or two. So try offering and let them pick from that instead of just asking them, what do you feel like having today? Or just, saying this is what we're having. Keep meal times calm and predictable. Sit and eat with them because modeling can help. Something that I'm thinking from previous videos and trainings that I've done is to think about when you're eating the visual ability of that person who's living with dementia, because when someone develops dementia, their peripheral vision starts to shrink, and it could be that their visual field is a 12-inch circle. So if you consider that that's the circle right here, they're only seeing what's there. So if they're looking at you, they may have to they won't be able to see their plate, right? So they need to look down, because if they don't look down at their food, they might be looking at your food and grabbing your plate. And then you might have seen this either at home, or if you've ever visited an assisted living facility where people are eating. There are some people who look antisocial, but they're not really. It's that their vision is here and they have to look down at their plate. So they're eating like this and not really being social. So vision will play a part in this as well. We want our loved ones to be able to see their food, see theirs, not ours or someone else's. So just think about how that might be impacting things. And let's see. Okay, when to call the doctor. If you see rapid weight loss or rapid weight gain, if you see signs of dehydration, if you see coughing or choking during meals as a pattern, if there is refusal to eat for more than 24 hours, and if there's a sudden change in appetite, you want to talk with the doctor, send a portal message to them. I wouldn't recommend going to the emergency room unless it is an emergency. But if it's something stressful like this, you can still try to get an appointment that day, or go to urgent care, and also send a message through the portal to your doctor. So remember, not medical advice. I'm not telling you not to go to the emergency room. Of course, you need to be prudent and go when it's something urgent or an emergency and it's life-threatening. But just be prudent with that, I guess I should just say. All right, and in closing, appetite changes are common and they're manageable. You're not doing anything wrong. It's the brain that is changing. So please repeat that to yourself. It is true. But just say it till you believe it, if it is difficult. And small adjustments that we talked about can make a big difference and bring peace again and make meals more enjoyable. So I hope that through this list of all these ideas, I hope you found 2 or 3 that you think are worth trying, that are going to, you have confidence, of some fair confidence that it's going to work with your loved one, at least enough to try. So, and I wish you luck with that. Leave some comments. What worked for you? What tips do you have that I left out that you want other people to know? Please let us know in the comments, and share this with someone who you think may appreciate it. And remember, this advice that you give might one day come around and help you as well. So thanks again for being here and supporting the Council on Aging in St. Tammany. Just by watching these, you're supporting. And I look forward to you catching more education on these caregiver coffee conversations. Take care.